Dear students, let us continue the third part of first chapter of class 8 Civics. The name of the topic is the Indian Constitution. In our previous discussion, we have done the Indian Constitution key features. So let us continue it. Have a look in page number 11. Listed below are the key features of the Indian Constitution. While reading this, keep in mind the above mentioned concerns of diversity, unity, socio-economic reform, and representation that the authors of this document were grappling with. Here, listed below means it has given under the key features of our Indian Constitution. And while reading this, keep in mind the above mentioned concerns of diversity means that variety, unity, socio-economic reform. Reform means make changes in order to improve it. And representation that the authors of the document were grappling with. Grappling means engage in a close fight or struggle without weapon. Try and understand the ways in which they tried to balance these concerns with their commitment to transforming independent India into a strong democratic society. Here, try and understand the ways in which they tried in order to balance this to relate with their commitment means activity to transforming independent India into a strong democratic society. Federalism. This refers to the existence of more than one level of government in the country. In India, we have governments at the state level and at the center. Panchayati Raj is the third tier of government, and you have read about this Panchayati Raj in your class 6 book. You have learned it. You have government in the union level as well as state level also. So when you were in class 6, you studied about Panchayati Raj, in which we have learned Pradhan, then Nyaya Panchayat, etc. We looked at the functioning of the state government in your class 7 book. In class 7, you have learned about the state government. And this year, means in class 8, we will read more about the central government. Village levels government we have learned. Then about state government also you have learned in your earlier classes. So now, this year we will read more about the central government, where we have Prime Minister, then Defense Minister, etc. The vast number of communities in India meant that a system of government needed to be device that did not involve only person sitting in the capital city of Delhi and making decision for everyone. See, the vast number of communities in India mean that a system of government needed to be planned. Device means planned or invented by careful thought that did not involve only persons sitting in the capital city of Delhi and making decision for everyone. Instead, it was important to have another level of government in the states so that decision could be made for that particular area. In place of that, it was important to have another level of government that is in the states so that decision it could be made for that very particular area. While each state in India enjoys autonomy in exercising power on certain issues, subjects of national concern require that all of these states follow the laws of the central government. Autonomy means the right or condition of self government. Children, while each state in our country enjoys the right or condition of self government in exercising powers on certain issue, subjects of national concern require that all of these states follow the laws of the central government. Here, the laws which are made by central government has to follow. The constitution contains lists that detail the issues that each tier of government can make laws on. The constitution contains lists that detail the issues that each government can make laws on. In addition, the constitution also specifies where each tier of government can get the money from for the work that it does. Each tier of government, whether it is state level or village level or center, means that in addition, the constitution also specifies where each tier of government they can get the money from for the work that it does. Under federalism, the states are not merely agents of the federal government, but draw their authority from the constitution as well. All persons in India are governed by laws and policies made by each of these levels of government. See, every persons in India are governed by laws and policies made by each of these level of government. Now the next one is parliamentary form of government. Parliament government, let us see. The different tiers of government that you just read about consist of representatives who are elected by the people. Representatives, we the people, we the voter, we used to elect them. So the different tiers of government, they consist of representatives. Your class 7 book began with the story of Kanta, who was standing in line to vote during an election. Class 7 book, in your class 7 book, you have studied, boys, the story of Kanta, who was standing in the line to vote during an election. So here under you can see the picture how people they stand online for election. The Constitution of India grants universal adult suffrage for all citizens. Our constitution, that Indian constitution, it grants universal adult suffrage. Universal adult suffrage means the right to vote in political elections for all citizens. That right has granted by the Indian constitution. Citizen, that means, boys, you must know, in our country, those who attain 18 years of age or above, they are called universal adults. They are allowed to cast vote. When they were making the constitution, the members of the Constituent Assembly felt that the freedom struggle had prepared the masses for universal adult suffrage, and that this would help encourage a democratic mindset and break the clutches of traditional caste, class, and gender hierarchies. Clutches means grasp tightly, and then hierarchies a system. It is a system in which members of an organization or society are ranked according to relative status or authority. So what we find here, here when they were making the constitution, at the time when they were making the constitution, the members of the Constituent Assembly, they felt that the freedom struggle had prepared the masses for universal adult suffrages. It is freedom struggle that had prepared for masses, masses for universal adult suffrage, and this would help encourage a democratic mindset and break the classes of traditional caste, class, and gender hierarchies. It will break that thing. This means that the people of India have a direct role in electing their representatives. It means it is clear here that the people of India, they have a direct role in order to elect their leaders or representatives. Also, every citizen of the country, irrespective of his or her special background, can also contest in elections. Moreover, every citizen of the country, every citizen of our country, irrespective of his or her social background, so let it be from any background, it might be whether man or woman, can also contest in elections. So, social background doesn't matter here in order to contest in the elections. Every citizen can contest here. These representatives are accountable to the people. You will read more about why representation is crucial to democratic functioning in Unit 2 of this book. So, you will read more about why representation It is crucial to democratic why it is important in democratic functioning. In unit 2 of this book you will learn there role of representation. Now let us see the third point, that is separation of powers. This is the third key. Powers are separated. How? Let us see. According to the Constitution, there are three organs of government. These are the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. These are the three organs of government. But you must underline in your book what are the three organs of government according to the Indian Constitution. The legislature refers to our elected representatives, the leader whom we have elected. They refer to our legislature. The executive is a smaller group of people who are responsible for implementing laws and running the government. Underline all this: legislature, executive. The executive is a smaller group of people who are responsible for implementing laws and running the government in a proper way. The judiciary, of which you will read more in unit 3 of this book. About this judiciary you will learn in unit 3 of your book. Refers to the system of courts in this country. It refers judiciary, it refers to the courts in this country. In order to prevent the misuse of power by any one branch of government, the Constitution says that each of these organs should exercise different powers. So, this right has given by the Constitution. Constitution says so. Through this, each organ acts as a check on the other organs of the government, and this ensures the balance of power between all three. It ensures what? It indicates the balance of power in between all the three. Okay, boys. Here in the box, the word state is often used in this chapter. This does not refer to state governments. Rather, when we use state, we are trying to distinguish it from government. Government is responsible for administering and enforcing laws. The government can change with elections. See, if any government come in power and if we are not satisfied in their work, what generally we used to do, we used to change him in our next elections. And the person whom we like and whom we think is capable of doing or functioning properly, the very person who used to cast vote and elected him. The state, on the other hand, refers to a political institution. State, it means it is a political institution that represents a sovereign people who occupy a definite territory. Sovereign means self-governing institution which are free from external control. We can thus speak of the Indian state, the Nepali state, etc. The Indian state has a democratic form of government. The government for the executive is one part of the state. The state refers to more than just the government and cannot be used interchangeably with it. The interchangeably means in the way that can be exchanged, so it cannot be used in such a way. Let us see the next page of the chapter. Fundamental rights. The section on fundamental rights has often been referred to as the conscience of the Indian Constitution. Conscience means a person's moral sense of right or wrong, viewed as acting as a guide to one's behavior. Colonial rule had created in certain suspicion of the state in the minds of the nationalists, and they wanted to ensure that a set of written rights would guard against the misuse of state power in independent India. So, suspicion means a feeling or thought that something is possible, likely, or true. Here, what we find that the section of fundamental rights has often been referred to as the conscience of the Indian Constitution. Colonial rule, which was ruled by other countries, had created a certain suspicion of the state in the minds of the nationalists, and they wanted to ensure that a set of written rights would guard against. If there is a set of written rights, it will guard against the misuse of state power in independent India. Fundamental rights therefore protect citizens against the arbitrary and absolute exercise of power by the state. The Constitution thus grants the rights of individual against the state as well as against other individuals. The Constitution in this way grants the right for every individual against the state as well as against other individuals. So arbitrary means a stick, modify like that. I mean, sorry. Arbitrary means random. Arbitrary means random. Moreover, the various minority communities also express the need for the constitution to include rights that would protect their groups. Beyond than that, the various minority communities, the group of people who are in minority, less in number, that communities also express the need for the constitution to include rights that would protect their groups. In order to protect their groups, the minorities, they said so. The constitution therefore also grants the rights of minorities against the majority. That is why constitution grants the rights of minorities against the majority. As Dr. Ambedkar has said about these fundamental rights, their object is twofold. Twofold means having two parts or double like that. The first objective is that every citizen must be in a position to claim those rights. The first objective is that in which every citizen must be in a position, they must be in a status to claim those rights. And secondly, these rights must be binding upon every authority that has got the power to make laws. So this was the second one. In addition to fundamental rights, the Constitution also has a section called Directive Principles of the State Policy. This section was designed by the members of the Constituent Assembly to ensure greater social and economic reforms and to serve as a guide to the independent Indian state to institute laws and policies that help reduce the poverty of the masses. Here, ensure means make certain that something will be occur. Then reforms means make change in something. Okay, uh, in order to improve it. So, in addition to fundamental rights, the Constitution also has a section called Directive Principles of State Policy for the citizens of our country. Apart from fundamental rights, Constitution has given some directive principles, directions also here. This section was designed by the members of the Constituent Assembly. Members of the Constituent Assembly, they designed in order to ensure greater social and economic reforms and to serve as a guide to the independent Indian state to institute laws and policies that help reduce the poverty of the masses. Poverty means poorness of the masses, the all people. Boys, to your left side, you can see here the fundamental rights in the Indian Constitution. So this is very important, which you need to learn by heart also. Sometimes it can be asked. So we have 6 fundamental rights which is granted to us by our Indian Constitution. They are right to equality. All persons are equal before the law. This means that all persons shall be equally protected by the laws of the country. It also states that no citizen can be discriminated. No citizens can be looked down against on the basis of their religion, caste, or sex. No one can discriminate at them. In our fundamental right, first fundamental right, that is right to equality, mentioned so. Every person has access to all public places, including playgrounds, hotels, shops, etc. So every person they can go in those places which is mentioned here. The state cannot discriminate against anyone in matters of employment. So for getting any job, the state cannot discriminate. Or you belong to this community, you cannot go for this job or that job, you cannot apply. So state cannot do this. But there are exceptions to this that you will read about later in this book. The practice of untouchability has also been abolished. So untouchability, uh, this is abolished, removed from the society. It should not be practiced in order to bring everyone in equal status. Second point, second fundamental right is right to freedom. This includes the right to freedom of speech and expression. So, to give a speech or express anything, this right we have. The right to form associations, the right to move freely and reside in any part of the country, and the right to practice any profession, occupation, or business. So, under this fundamental right, we can go anywhere in our country and stay anywhere, reside anywhere in any part of the country, and we can move from one place to another entire country freely, and the right to practice any profession we can do as we wish the type of work, occupations, business, profession we can do. Nobody can oppose it. It should be legal. Then third fundamental right is right against exploitation. The Constitution prohibits human trafficking. Trafficking means deal or trade in something illegal. Human trafficking. Okay. Forced labor and employment of children under 14 years of age. So Constitution it prohibits means those who are under 14 years of age, they should not be implemented to do any work. They should not be utilized for any work, hard work. Constitution denies that. Now fourth one is right to freedom of religion. Religious freedom is provided to all citizens. Our constitution has granted us. Anybody, according to his own choice, he can choose any religion. Every person has the right to practice, profess, and propagate the religion of their choice. Next one, cultural and educational rights. The Constitution states that all minorities, religious or linguistic, can set up their own educational institutions in order to preserve and develop their own culture. The Constitution it states what that all minorities. See, maximum in our state Manipur, mm, majority people are Manipuri or Maitais. Then minorities, Muslim or other caste of people, they belongs to minorities group. Those who are lesser in number, they are called here minorities. Religious or linguistic can set up their own educational institutions in order to preserve and develop their own culture. In order to preserve and develop their own culture, religious or linguistic can set up their own. No one can oppose it. Right to constitutional remedies. This allows citizens to move the court if they believe that any of their fundamental rights have been violated by the state. So, under this fundamental rights, the fundamental rights right to constitutional remedies, here a citizen can approach to court to move if he can approach to court if he or she believe that any of his or her fundamental rights have been violated by the state. At the time, one can go for the shelter of court in order to get that right. So, boys, let's see here the last part of this page number 14. Some questions has given here. Which fundamental rights will the following situation violate? You practice it yourself, and in the Google Meet class, I may ask again these questions also, and you must be able to answer this question. You practice it. Let us proceed to page number 15, the fifth key of our Indian Constitution, that is secularism. A secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. Our India is a secular country. Here there should not be any partiality in the matter of religion, because in secularism we find a secular state is one in which the state does not officially promote any one religion as the state religion. We will read more about this in the following chapter. About this secularism, we will read more than this. You now understand the ways in which a country's history often determines the kind of constitution that a country adopts for itself. The constitution plays a crucial role in laying out the ideals that we would like all citizens of the country to adhere to, including the representatives that we elect to rule us. So adhere means stick here. And just like in the game of football, a change of constitutive rules will affect the game. As that means starting part of the chapter we find like that. That means like in the game of football, a change of constitutive rules will affect this game. Indian Constitution has been amended over the years to reflect new concerns of the polity. Amended means modify, and then polity, a form or process of civil government of constituency. Here, Indian Constitution has been amended over the years to reflect new concerns of the polity. Often a major change in the Constitution means a change in the fundamental nature of the country. We show this in the case of Nepal and how it needed to adopt a new constitution after it became a democracy. So, in the case of Nepal, we have observed how it needed to adopt a new constitution after it became a democracy. So, when it became a democratic country, how it this a new constitution adopted, we have seen here. The different features of Indian constitution outlined above involve complicated ideas that are often not easy to grasp. Complicated means consisting of many interconnecting. So the different features of our Indian constitution, which is given above, it involves complicated ideas that are often not easy to grasp. Means size or hold firmly, that is called grasp. Don't worry too much about this for the moment. In the rest of the book, as well as in your higher classes, you will read more about these different features of the Indian Constitution and understand more substantively what they mean. Substantively means sufficient. You will know about it. You will understand more what they mean. So, boys, the Constitution also mentions fundamental duties. Find out with the help of your teacher what this include and why it is important for citizens in a democracy to observe this. Apart from these fundamental rights, we have 11 fundamental duties also. So, children, as and when we get time, we'll discuss about this nicely again. Illustrate each of the 11 fundamental duties with drawings, pictures, poems, or songs and discuss them in the classroom. This one is for you. So let us skip this one. But fundamental duties, that one also you have to know, boys. And by the way, whatever fundamental rights I said to you, that one, name of the fundamental, what are the 6 fundamental rights which are granted to us by Indian Constitution, and uh, to know about all these fundamental rights, you have to do it. So let's conclude here for today, all of you. Thank you.